Bankstown Chamber of Commerce, and I hope I said that correctly. Thank you. We also have with us guests who've travelled from Northern Beaches, the Blue Mountains, Penrith, Lake Macquarie and beyond. Your presence here proves that connections do matter, and that when city and regional voices unite, we all grow stronger together. At the Bondi District Chamber of Commerce, our mission is simple but powerful: to support local businesses to work together with Waverley Council and local MPs, both state and federal, to ensure that Bondi is not just a destination, but a thriving, sustainable community. But tonight is not all about programs and policies. It's about us, people. It's about recognising those who step up to lead, often without titles, without recognition, but with enormous courage and passion. I also want to acknowledge a gentleman, Leon Goldsman. Leon is no stranger to the leadership he does, having served on Waverley Council as a strong advocate for residents and communities. But Leon is also someone who gets things done. Beginning of last year, he has written his Engaging Conversation book series, and 2 of the books have reached Amazon's Australia's bestseller, listed in the PR and professional educational development categories. That's incredible. Wow. It also brought to life the Engaging Conversations podcast. That platform has opened doors for people from all walks of life to share their stories without the right audiences, not only to be heard, but to empower others. And it has directed everyone here tonight like that. It's proof that one success can spark another, that when principles are applied, they don't just stay on the page, they create real change. And bringing some of these people together into one room is a living evidence of that. Closer to my home, I'd also like to thank our Chamber Board for their dedication and hard work that they have all done to bring this event to life. And a special mention to Matt, who also goes above and beyond and support the Chamber, who gathered all our door prizes here tonight. So for that, thank you very much. And on behalf of all the board members, if you can all raise your hand to make yourself aware, please. Board members? Board members? Oh, they're probably all right outside. But anyway, thank you very much to all the board members who have done this. And of course, our principal event partners. We are proud to stand alongside Lime, leading the way in sustainable mobility, Alspec Solar, powering homes and businesses with innovative clean energy solutions, Nepean Advance and Rehab and Allied Health Centre, living out their philosophy of empowering movement, restoring life. And East Leagues Club, not just our host venue, but a partner that brings people together. We'll hear more about these contributions later in the evening. It's a bit warm in here, isn't it? For now, please join me in showing appreciation to their support. A round of applause. Thank you. So as we begin, I encourage you to meet someone new here tonight. Share your stories, listen deeply, because the energy and spirit in this room tonight will create ripples long after we leave. Thank you for being here. Thank you to our partners, and thank you for believing, as we do, the connections are the foundations of progress. As you have arrived this evening, you would have received a ribbon I kept telling everybody about, and you've arrived this evening. You've received a ribbon for now. I'll simply ask you to hold on to it. Its meaning will become clear later when you hear from Astrid, who is one of our speakers. Think of it as a small reminder to stay curious, because tonight is all about discovery, and you'll understand more about this as the evening unfolds. And now, without further ado, let's celebrate the people, the partnerships and the possibilities that make our community thrive. Welcome to Celebration Connections. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my privilege to welcome someone who represents the heart of this community. Tonight, he joins us to share his vision for how city and regional communities can work together to face challenges and create opportunities that benefit all of us. Now, please welcome the Mayor of Waverley, Councillor Will Nemish. Thank you.
Good evening and thank you, Emmanuel. Welcome everyone to Bondi Junction in the heart of Waverley for an evening that brings together leaders, innovators, change makers from across New South Wales in one room and under one roof. And we've gathered not only to share ideas, but to strengthen friendships and build connections that will shape the future of our communities for years to come. And the sharing of ideas and the building of communities and looking after country and community is something which has been practiced by our Indigenous Australians for tens of thousands of years. And in that light, I would like to acknowledge the Bidyagal, the Birrabirragal and the Gadigal people, who are the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather, and we pay our respect to Indigenous and Aboriginal elders, both past and present. A warm welcome to those who have travelled far and wide. Your presence is a reminder of the collaboration that just does not stop at the boundaries of our suburbs, our towns, or even our municipalities. And I want to especially acknowledge the presidents of business chambers who have joined us here tonight from across the state. These chambers of commerce are the beating heart of our local economies, and your leadership keeps us and our small businesses thriving. And in that light, I want to make a particular mention of Emmanuel Constantino, who you all know and heard of earlier today, the President of the Bondi and District Chambers of Commerce, whose vision and determination has made this evening possible. And Emmanuel, in particular, your leadership in creating opportunities in dialogue and collaboration is really an example to us all, and our community is that much richer for your advocacy and passion. So thank you very much. And can I also recognise the important role of my other dear friend, Wally Mahana, who's here tonight representing the Canterbury Bankstown Chamber of Commerce, who has long championed inclusivity, entrepreneurship and multiculturalism in business networks. And your work reminds us that when diverse voices come together, the solutions we find are that much richer and more sustainable. And for those who don't know, Wally took me under his wing some 15 years ago, and among the many important things that I've learnt from Wally was that hummus in Bankstown is some of the best in the world. So as a bit of an idea then, Emmanuel, how about a battle of the hummus, east meets west, potentially, as an idea. We have here a number of councillors as well from around Sydney, and I want to recognise all of you here today as well. And lastly, would be remiss not to also mention the contributions of Leon Goldsman, who also happens to be a former councillor at Waverley Council, whose Engaging Conversations podcast has provided a platform for people to share ideas, connect with one another, and celebrate the achievements that make our communities unique. Leon, you have laid so much of the groundwork for events like this, reminding us that dialogue and storytelling is the essence of who we are and our hopes, dreams and aspirations. So thank you very much. Waverley has always been proud of its character as a community, one that is inclusive, resilient and outward-looking. We are a place that welcomes visitors from around the world, but never losing sight of our local values and traditions. And tonight's event draws deeply on that tradition of collaboration, because we know that when councils, chambers of commerce and grassroots organisations work together, we can achieve outcomes none of us could deliver by ourselves and alone. And councils have been traditionally told that their remit can be condensed into 3 words: roads, rates and rubbish. And this might have been true in the past, but it really is that notion is really part of a bygone era and no more reflects the true nature and the role of councils. At the core of what we do and the services we provide is really all about community, and it's about you and your hopes and your aspirations for your local area. And the heart of community is all about connection. Connection between people, but also the connection between people and places. And I'm incredibly proud that in Waverley we've been facilitating and providing that opportunity for connection, as well as being leaders in innovation. From Waverley Council's largest acquisition of affordable housing stock in over 2 decades, a move enabling key workers and individuals fleeing family and domestic violence to access council-owned housing stock, to our work with our share bike operators like Lime, one of the sponsors you have here tonight, in creating a framework in managing, using and parking of shared e-bikes across our LGA. And that is a first that we've done in Waverley, and I understand other councils are very much interested in what we've achieved in that regard as well. Having said that, we've also seen in the last 2 years a disturbing trend. One could say the fraying of a bit of social discourse or civil discourse and social cohesion, leading to individuals and sometimes our community becoming increasingly fractured and siloed. But the best antidote for that is connection, which is why earlier this year Waverley Council hosted a historic mayoral roundtable which included over 20 mayors from across Sydney coming together, working together to combat prejudice, but also particularly in promoting social cohesion and taking practical steps to ensure that our community feels heard, respected, but also valued. So while we have different postcodes, we have different sporting loyalties, but I do say go the Roosters, and perhaps even our coffee orders might differ. Our aspirations and our challenges are also strikingly similar. Every community represented here tonight is grappling with similar issues, and in particular one that is plaguing really all of us across Australia, and that is one of housing affordability, and how to make sure that young people can afford to stay near the places that they grew up. And this is not just a particular issue of today. It's one that actually will, I think, define not just this generation, but in generations to come. The consequence of inaction would be a society impoverished both morally and spiritually. And this is why even in Waverley, which is an affluent area, we continue to be vocal in our calls for sensible planning reform as well as housing delivery. Because every part of Sydney must lift its weight. But it's how we deliver on this social contract that is very important. Now, I've never really heard anyone say that Paris or Barcelona are terrible cities lacking a soul. Quite contrary, they were well-planned cities based on architectural beauty and innovation, and they've created cities with souls and character. And there's no reason why we can't replicate that. And we can do that by coming together in events like here tonight and having conversations about the communities and the places that we want to see, and then working with stakeholders, different levels of government to give effect to that. And that's really the way that we can together lead and also create better society and better community for all of us. Additionally, every community wants to support its local businesses, and we hear, this is a local Chamber of Commerce inspired event. And particularly in the current climate, one of a bit of uncertainty, especially at the global level. We don't know if Donald Trump will whack another tariff around the corner, but every community shares a deep desire to strengthen health and the well-being of its people. And in particular, our small businesses are the lifeblood of our community, and they need to be supported by all levels of government. Businesses need a lift up, not a hand down, which is why in this regard, very proud of what we're doing in Waverley, and you might hear a little bit more about it after I speak. And that is through additional place activations, more festivals, notably bringing back New Year's Eve at Bondi Beach this year. So I hope to see you all there. There's going to be fireworks, a lot of family fun as well. It'll be fantastic. We're also offering additional flexible outdoor dining arrangements and extending our trading hours for businesses, providing incentives and opportunities for them to flourish. And this is the kind of activity, if it was to be rolled out across New South Wales more broadly, certainly Sydney metro areas, that will create that vibrancy, that will help to bring Sydney-siders together in a more cohesive and connected framework. In that vein as well, I just wanted to note, it was something that came up today, you might have seen, just with Sculpture by the Sea being a little bit of financial difficulty, potentially not necessarily going ahead in a couple of weeks. And I just wanted to, give a shout out if there's any way in which the community could assist in providing support to Sculpture by the Sea. They're asking for some donations to help them. There's just a small gap of funding. That would obviously be very much appreciated because it's such an iconic, important artistic, cultural event on the calendar, and we would love to see Sculpture by the Sea continue, particularly after 20 plus years. But I just wanted to mention that as well. But this brings me to an important theme for tonight, which is innovation. And I want to be clear, this is not just innovation for its own sake. True innovation must be purpose-driven, evidence-based and people-focused. The question is not can we adopt new technologies, but how can we harness them in new ways that make life safer, healthier, more sustainable and more resilient? And how do we use innovation to ensure that businesses feel supported to take risks, to grow, employ and to thrive? And this is why the presence of both regional and metropolitan leaders in this room is so significant. The challenges might look different in Penrith compared to with Newcastle or Bondi compared to Broken Hill. But the underlying issues of housing, jobs, transport, health and opportunity unite us all. If we take the time to listen to one another, we can share the solutions that work, adapt them to our local context and scale them across the state. And at Waverley, we're playing our part. We might act and think local, but we do so with a statewide outlook and focus. Bondi may welcome the world's visitors, but tonight we extend a warm welcome to our regional colleagues. Your experiences, your perspectives, and your resilience are invaluable to the conversations we are beginning here. And I want to emphasise that word beginning, because tonight should not simply be about just a networking opportunity or a pleasant evening of conversation, though I hope it is, of course, both those things. But tonight should be the beginning of new conversations, stronger collaborations, and lasting friendship and relationships that will endure beyond just this room. And it's the power of nights like this, not just the energy of connection in the room, but the potential for real lasting impact once we leave it. So we stand on the shoulders of those who built the foundations of our communities, the people who work tirelessly to create the towns, cities, neighbourhoods we are privileged to lead today. But we also stand alongside one another here and now, ready to seize the opportunities that lie ahead. So I thank you for being here tonight, not just as guests, but as partners in this important journey, and together form a wider fabric of communities that represent the very best of New South Wales. And remember, we are stronger when we are united, we are more cohesive when we connect, and we grow when we innovate. Thank you very much.
Again, thank you, Mayor Nemish, for their lovely insights. And now the round of applause for the Mayor, please. Thank you. Our next speaker is someone who understands how innovation and technology can make a real difference in everybody's life. Tonight, we will share some insights on how local leadership can spark transformation and why collaboration between councils, businesses and communities are so vital. So please welcome our dearest friend, John Candanaris from the Economic Development Team of Waverley Council. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you to the Chamber for having me tonight, and thank you to Mayor Namesh for a fantastic inspirational start to the evening. I do have some slides which we will begin. So I'll start off with a bit of a journey, just so you understand how ambitious we are about understanding our community through data, through technology, and how we harness it. So on to the next slide. We'll start by, I guess, setting the context that the world is changing. There's a lot happening that we don't understand. At the moment, we're at a point where there's a lot of uncertainty in trade policy. There's a lot of uncertainty in economic policy. There's tariffs, consumer price indexes are fluctuating. Consumer sentiment is at its lowest since 2000. So it makes a lot of businesses nervous. It makes councils nervous because we need to maintain our communities, our commercial centres. We'll just move on to the next slide. I won't go into these megatrends in detail, but we always begin by understanding megatrends. So they're trends that will happen over the next 10 years. They will dictate socially, economically, culturally, politically what happens. We can see from the group of trends that there's no surprises, but we're familiar with them, from climate change to geopolitical to resource scarcity. We're starting to see it play out before our eyes. So we at Waverley are ambitious to understand these trends because they do play out, particularly in Waverley. Whilst they're small businesses, they are affected at the ground level as well. Just moving into national trends. So I won't dwell on those, but what I want to point out is it's much of the same. So the mega trends that we've seen globally are starting to play out in Australia over the next 10 years. Now, as I move on onto the local level, I wanted to just take a moment to kind of shift the story. And what we've started to discover is from COVID-19 onwards, there's been so much uncertainty that the community are looking back at their own places of where they live. They want something that inspires them, something that helps them enjoy their lives, somewhere to live, to work, to shop and to play. And it's at one of the highest levels that it's ever been when it's been surveyed. So just by looking at some of the stats on the screen, you can see the desire for local. I won't dwell on it, and I think the slides will become available after the event. So we can see that the future of work is hybrid. That's changing our centres and how we deal with them, how we influence them, and that's a key component also of how we will deal with Bondi Junction in the future, but also our smaller communities. People are working from home a lot longer. They're not commuting into the office as often. We've seen that in a lot of statistics, which means the role of our centres is changing. They're becoming more about a lifestyle district. They're becoming more of entertainment hubs. There is a push post-COVID of a well-being era, where we're starting to focus on how everything that we touch serves our purpose for well-being. Just moving on to the next slide, we can see our city centres. So it's going to be a high focus on arts and culture. We've seen that in other parts of the world. We've seen that to some extent in Melbourne, but this will be replicated in smaller centres, in communities. People do want a small art gallery. They do want something that's engaging at a smaller, more local level. I won't touch on all the stats. I'll briefly get into the data because I'm mindful of my time and I don't want to bore you all to death. Just going into the power of data. So we're ambitious with data because it tells a story. We don't approach it by trying to collect all the data that exists. We look at the questions that we have and the problems that we have, and then we go looking for the data that we need to better understand it. So with the next slide, I'll just show you a list of just some of the data we use at the moment. What's bolded is what we have access to directly at Waverley, we pay for. The rest is a collaboration with the different government agencies. They offer a lot of different information that sometimes is not as useful on its own, but when you bet it together with other information, we can see things. So for example, Westpac Bank, retail and event spending. We can see what happens down at Bondi Beach on New Year's Eve in an event. We can see sculptures by the sea. We can see where people are spending and what they're spending on. With that, we can then overlay that with the weather data, and we can see, well, did it influence people attending, or is the event just not working the way it used to be? So these are things that we're starting to explore a lot more, and a lot of other councils are starting as well. And I'm happy that, from my perspective, you can ring up another council and speak to their teams, and everyone instantly shares data. They'll send information that's useful for us to better understand. They'll challenge you in your thinking because it's a new area for a lot of councils to start pushing further into. We look at retail spending through the Commonwealth Bank as well, which I'll show you in a later slide. We look at local location and movement data through apps. So we can see every device that's passed through Waverley. It's anonymised, we don't see who it is, but we can see the volume of people, where they go, what they do, how long they spend there. And that helps us plan for the future. I won't go through any more of the data. I'll go on to the next slide just to show you some other things we prepare to help business. So this is about measuring our occupancy rates in Waverley. We've been doing it for many years. We use it as a measure to understand the response in our commercial centres to what's going well and what's not. And during COVID, we were interested to see, okay, well, what's going to happen here? And we were surprised that Waverley didn't really fall as much as it did in other areas. And we were trying to understand what was happening, and it wasn't until we reached out to different agents, real estate agents, and the industry, we discovered that businesses, particularly small businesses, were seeing the vacancies that were coming up in Waverley and Bondi as an opportunity to get into Bondi. We discovered that Bondi is a location for businesses to test an idea, to unlock seed funding, to unlock their next level of investors. So a lot of people were pushing to get in, which meant we were in a positive position where we didn't have to worry too much about vacancy compared to some other areas. So that's been a useful exercise for us to continue, and we still continue it, and it's used in a lot of different projects, from something as simple as understanding which areas to target for sustainable programs, through to other examples of, around programs for buy local. Just moving on to the next example. So we prepared, with the help of the Chamber, a bit of a snapshot that we release once to twice a year of different pieces of information. This is only parts of the snapshot, but we do explain to the local community what's happening in terms of spending. So we subscribe to these services from Westpac and Commonwealth Bank. We then give that out to all the small businesses so they can better understand how to plan for their business, how to deliver better products and better services. We also do our annual review of commercial property, so we can understand how many are for lease and how many are for sale as well. Just to touch on the next slide in sustainability, we are also providing a whole series of online information now for businesses as well as residents to understand what businesses are accessible to them to repair things, to reuse things, to basically make use of the community businesses, the local businesses, to the best of their ability in an era that's moving towards a more sustainable approach to living. So that's something that we've spent a lot of time doing and we're very proud of as a council. Just touching on the next bit of data. So we've entered a trial with the state government and the 24-hour economy where they've listened to a lot of councils say that we can't keep buying data. There's no use in us buying all this information individually, repeatedly across New South Wales. It makes sense that the state government steps in to create dashboards. Those dashboards are linking a lot of series of information, and in this instance, this is the nighttime economy one. So we can see trends in relation to Waverley that relate to mobility, to spending, employment, crime, that's linked into the New South Wales Boxar system. We can see ambulance call-outs and the exact locations. Mind you, all the information is anonymised, so we don't see detail, but we can at least see volume, so we can see what's going on in an area and we can see it in real time as well. Just on the next slide there, we can see the crime rates for Waverley. It does compare to a lot lower level than other parts of Sydney, which I'm very happy about, but there are still issues, obviously, for Waverley like other areas. Just moving on to the next slide, another business we team up with is SpendMap. They're the ones linked to Westpac Bank. You can just see, we can see the number of transactions in Waverley in a 12-month period, 40 million. We can see the average transaction value, $68. We know Westfield does drive some of that. And through the data, we can understand, for example, how many people visit Westfield Bondi Junction in any 12 months. And we know that before COVID, it was 24 million visits, and that might be me 100 times. And post-COVID now, it's hovering at about 20 million. So it's still quite high. And we use that information with other sources to understand, again, what's going on and plan for future events and strategic projects. This data is becoming more important, I think, because small businesses are focused on surviving right now. So we're trying to understand the efforts in which we best support them. So we are looking at buy local programs, not a specific program, but a range of initiatives that support the retail space. Other industries we know are doing well, and we can see that in the data. Just in the next slide, you can see the Commonwealth Bank data. That's another kind of small fine grain layer of information that's similar but different to SpendMap. So here we could articulate that, for example, visitors to Bondi, we know that young singles and couples create more than 60% of the visitors into Waverley. And when we understood that, we started to change some of the information and the offering that we were trying to articulate so people could better navigate through the area. Businesses understood what to offer because that's a very large proportion of the visitors. We could also see the ages. So funnily enough, the couples age group is actually over 55s. So we do get a very large proportion of young, but the couples are actually usually the children have left home and they're now starting to travel and they're visiting Waverley. So that was another very interesting insight we obtained from the Commonwealth Bank. And they are one of the largest spenders in Waverley as a visitor. Just getting to the last group of slides, we teamed up with Place Intelligence a couple of years ago. This data remains very useful and current to today, informing a lot of different projects. We could see a range of things like where people were coming from. We understood from this information that visitors within Sydney primarily came from the corridor from Penrith, believe it or not, or from Sutherland. The reason was it was the transport network. So it was the road, the highway coming from the Blue Mountains straight into the CBD and through to Bondi, and then the rail network coming from Sutherland right through to Bondi Junction. So that was a useful exercise for us to understand who are the visitors from within Sydney coming to Waverley. In the next slide, you'll see we could see the buildings that were most popular in terms of everyone who visited Waverley, and that included the Waverley residents as well as surrounding councils. So on the left, you can see Westfield is the highest bar there, and some of the other buildings represent the station as well as Eastgate Shopping Centre. On the right-hand side, we could see the footfall distribution around Bondi Beach. We could see the pathways that were getting used the most, and that inspired some more understanding for the infrastructure team, for asset team, which then makes us think, well, should this information be something we pursue on a more regular basis, which is becoming a norm for many councils. And just on the very last slide is an insight into our public Wi-Fi. So we team up with Bionic, who provide public Wi-Fi around Bondi Junction, Bondi Beach, Tamarama Beach, Bronte Beach. We can see the volume of people moving through. We can see how long they stay. We can see that information when we measure it up against the weather, that it does influence. We didn't really discover until we had the public Wi-Fi that the Coastal Walk has about 200-300 people walking between 4 and 5 a.m. in the morning. Now, I'm not up at that time, but I was pretty shocked at that hour. But it is very much a morning economy, and that's something that we're exploring now with even more information. So with that, I think it's important to remember there's a lot of opportunity with data. It's not about the information you go out looking, it's about the problems you're trying to solve. And then from there you can go out and find what you need to. And I encourage a lot of councils to continue sharing between one another, but then supporting the local businesses with that information so they can plan and deliver a lot more well into the future. Thank you, everybody.
Another round of applause for John, please. Some great insights as to what's happening and obviously showcasing that data is the most powerful thing that helps us drive our businesses. So once again, thank you, John. Our next speaker is someone well known to many of us here in Bondi and beyond. Leon Goldsman has served as a Waverley councillor representing residents and with passion and commitment, and today he continues the leadership as CEO of Equilibrium Headquarters. Please welcome to the stage Leon Goldsman to speak about the power of authentic connections.
Thank you. So I didn't bring a speech because it would defeat the purpose. Here I am making conversation and I'd be reading, so I thought I'd leave my speech to a business card. Look, I think the best way to begin is to kind of give you just a little pathway of my journey the past 12 months. And I think that will help explain how conversations and how a little bit of vision and probably commitment, hard work and all those sort of things that we're told by our parents when we're younger, how when we actually do it, and sometimes don't listen to our parents because they tell us things not to do, but we do them anyway, how that can make a huge difference. So just over 12 months ago, I was on council and I loved it. There are things I didn't like about it, but the fact that I was working with community, with amazing people, it gave me a chance to do what I do, and that's talk. Go and laugh. So one of the things I did was I wanted to get back to basics. I tried to go find self-help books. The problem is there weren't anyone, I was beyond help. There was no book there for me. So I figured I may as well write one. It's kind of like Marcus Aurelius wrote meditations for himself. I wrote a book called Engaging Conversations. It was just a little bit of an opportunity for me to go back, reflect, and things that I gave advice to myself. It wasn't intended for anyone else to read it. I mean, I put it out there anyway, but it really was for me. And the book was, if you want to get it up on the next slide, and I'm not plugging books, by the way, because it doesn't matter if I don't sell any. I never really wrote them to sell, but they did hit Amazon's top seller list, so what do you know? But the 3 books was Engaging Conversations was really about starting conversations. It's about, having the courage to go in and say hello and talk to people and actually getting away from your keyboard and the screen and actually going face to face. Something that we forget how to do. So that book was to remind me. It's about leaving conversations gracefully. Sometimes people like to talk and you've got to get out. So the book kind of explains that and how to follow up. And so it led to the next book, which was having a network of people which you can always call on. It's almost like, and pardon the terminology, it's like milking your own cows before going and milking someone else's. That would be theft. So that's what the second book's primarily about. But my favourite one was the third one, and that didn't make Amazon top seller list, go figure. But that was about standing out, being different, being unique. And I think we need to do more of that, not just in conversation, but in business, in everything that we do. Otherwise, we're just like everyone else. So you need to embrace your quirkiness, your weird, whatever you've got in you, because that's what makes you different. And that's what you need to offer, whether you're a business or whether you're you're just talking to people. You need to be able to do that. So there's a few rules that I came up with, but the reason why I'm saying that is because all those things, I believe, have helped better conversations. It leads to the next step. So don't worry about doing things for money. Don't worry about doing things for fame, for trophies. You just do what you need to do, and that success leads to the next one. So if we can go on to the next slides. And I don't have any more slides, that's it. But I really just wanted to emphasize, because I think a lot of us, we don't realize how easy it is to kind of, I'm going to say, get infected by other people's germs. If we spend too much time on the internet, we become part of that internet. If we spend too much time watching television, we become kind of, it absorbs, it soaks us. It leaves a, what's the word? It's, what? It pollutes our mind, but it also, there's residue there. So we can walk away, do something else, and that germs is with us, right? We don't want it. So what we want to do is we want to cleanse ourselves from time to time. So I think to do that, you need to have clarity. You really need to understand who you are, what you stand for, what you're trying to achieve. Now, I learn a lot from different people. Every single person here in the room, I've taken away something from. And one of the things that I did, and I didn't expect doing it, but about 2.5, 3 years ago, I signed up to become a fire rescue, New South Wales Fire Rescue. So it was kind of like I thought I'd volunteer, but they laughed at me. They said, oh, you couldn't join the fire rescue. So I tried it out, and medicals and everything else, and I passed. So as well as doing what I do, I actually go in there and break down doors, put out fires, cut people out from cars and rescue lives and that kind of stuff. But I did that as a retained firefighter, so I might get a phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning and doing stuff that I don't think many of us will ever see. But one thing I've learned from that, and the reason why I'm bringing it up is I got in trouble one time, my first day. I was rushing, I was running, and I get to the scene, I forgot my helmet. What's the point? So I really got in a lot of trouble over that. So one of the things is, you've got to slow down. You've got to slow down. Get out of your head. Don't be thinking about what's the next thing I'm going to say. Just do things with purpose. When you move slow, but you do with purpose. It's better to do something slower, take a bit longer, but do it right. And I think that's something that we forget because we live in such a fast-paced economy. We've got deadlines. We've got to do things fast.
Thank you again, Leon. Another round of applause for Leon. Obviously, without his passion and drive, tonight wouldn't have actually been possible. So thank you, Leon, for your drive and energy that's got this event happening tonight. So it's now my honour to introduce our keynote speaker for the evening, someone who has spent more than 3 decades championing innovation across Australia and New Zealand. If I can have to the stage, Julian Day is the co-founder and CEO of Consensus Awards. Tonight, Julian will share his insights on innovation, leadership and resilience and why nurturing ideas is just as important as discovering them. Please welcome Julian Day. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, good evening, everybody. It's a real privilege to be invited to give a keynote to such a esteemed audience. Actually, a bit flattered, to be honest with you. Certainly, we've achieved a lot over the last 26 years with the Consensus Awards, and I'd like to share that with you because a lot of it's very relevant to what's already been presented tonight. What the local community is doing with data, leveraging off data, better informed decisions, innovation in particular. This is a trophy for the Consensus Awards. So this is given out, a very prestigious award to those that win the awards. Started the awards in 1999. First awards were presented in March 2000. And we hit the deck running. We had Richard Alston, who was the Minister for ICT at the time, present our awards. We only had 2 awards that year. That was the Consensus Software Awards and the IT Writers Awards. The IT Writers Awards are for people writing about technology and innovation. At the time, I was the editor of Software Magazine, a monthly publication, and therefore I knew all the IT journalists and editors. We used to go to the same events probably 3 or 4 times a week. Got to know them pretty well. And that still exists today. And also within that program, we have a Lifetime Achievement Award. Over the years, we've added more. We now have 10 in total. We've added the Green Tech Award, that was added in 2006. We then added a Generic Innovation Award, and that's sort of like a catch-all for everything else. But we also have now one for MedTech, for FinTech, for AgTech, EdTech, etc. Now, they're discrete in their own space, but it's worth knowing that across the board, we have over 160 judges. That is a huge brains trust. They're all senior people from industry, and they do the heavy lifting. I manage the whole process, but they actually make the decisions as to how many awards are given out. It's not a competition, so everybody has a fair go. I've observed over many years in various different awards programs where the winner is, well, what about the second one? Weren't they as good as the first? Should they have not received an award as well? Whereas with ours, the judges actually make the decision on how many awards they give out. It's a great way of doing it. We also help all the entrants go through the whole process. So it's not just, here's the entry form, send it in when you're ready. No, we actually engage with everybody. We know what the judges are looking for. So if you have an innovative solution, or think you have an innovative solution, we're happy to work with you and actually work out whether it's worth you actually applying in the first place. And then we'll help you fill out and document and several iterations, typically 2 or 3 iterations, to a final document that then goes to the judges. I said we have 160 odd judges. I think we have at least one. Lewis, you're a judge previously, yeah. So we have at least one of our judges. Last week on Tuesday, we had an event called Reach Consensus, and that's the ability for us to now bring together a lot of the previous winners. And over the years, there have been, in the mainstream awards, there have been about 170 awards given out. And then you have the IT Writers Awards. There's probably another 200 awards that have been given out over the years in that. Out of that 170, we know, and all of the winners are on our website, so anybody can do their own analysis, 9 out of 10 of the winners have all gone on to do unbelievably well worldwide. 9 out of 10. I compare that to VC funds, venture capital funds. They're looking for, in a portfolio, balanced portfolio of 10 investments, they're looking for 1 or 2 to do a 10 times return. Ours turns that model around completely. Year on year on year, 9 out of 10 of the winners have all gone on to do at least a 12 times return. I like telling a story. I'm out and about in various different communities, go to various different pitch events at universities, the various different innovation hubs and startup hubs, and I'm looking all the time for potential entries. It would have been in August 2003 at an Australian Computer Society event. There was about 200 people there. Good networking evening. I spoke to a lot of people, and I spoke to a couple of uni students. Now, they told me that they were developing at the time a software solution which is actually for managing software development projects. And I said, well, that's my background. I know that. You guys have got it already, I can see. But the point is that that product, well, they entered that in 2004. Mike and Scott of Atlassian. I encouraged them to enter the awards well before they went to market. They actually had 3 beta sites at the time. And they had a little office in York Street, just behind QVB. Most of you probably know the Abbey Bookshop, just 2 doors down from there. And Mike's dad was paying the rent. And we went there, myself and the president of the Australian Computer Society, and visited their office. And they had a whiteboard, and we had a photograph taken in front of the whiteboard. And at the very top of the whiteboard, you've got a map of the world. They've got 3 dots. These are our 3 beta sites. And Boeing in the US was one of them. That was introduced by Mike's dad. And the 3 dots on the map, but across the top it said, World Domination Map. They only had 3 sites at the time. They hadn't even sold it, but this was their envision, even at that time. So we know the history of Atlassian. WiseTech Global, similar situation. I know Richard White quite well over the years now. He's presented our awards on one occasion as well. And he entered the awards because he knew that we had large judging panels, independent people from industry, that will actually make an evaluation of his technology. He won an award, and it's based on the fact that he was therefore ready to go to market. He got his 2 small investors to double their money, and he put his foot down on the accelerator. So incredibly successful. There are many other stories to tell. Let's go back to last week. So, number 1, at the end of 2023, we had Ed Husic, was the Federal Minister for Industry and Innovation, present our awards. And we decided to run the awards twice a year. I had to swallow hard about that and work that all out. But the point is that at the end of the day, people don't have to wait 6 or 12 months, I should say, to actually enter again if they wish to. So we actually are now running the Consensus Awards every 6 months. You either win an award, and fantastic, you get a citation written by the judges, and it's always quite meaty, so it can be used in your marketing material, and on your website and promotion. But for those that are either highly commended or don't win, then we provide good feedback to them. Last Tuesday, we had 3 previous winners speak. We had a winner from 2005, that was the Banks technology, BANCS, which is now owned and marketed by TCS. TCS being a consulting division of Tata, the big Indian conglomerate. And TCS Banks is huge worldwide. And Glenn Stafford, who worked for them at the time in North Sydney, spoke to how successful that technology has been. We also then had a talk from a highly commended in 2018, and they were into AI back in 2018. They were ahead of the curve, and they presented many use cases of how they're using AI today. And I recommend you have a look at their website, because there are some very good practical examples about how AI and how it's being used in different industries. And that AI could be just doing remote monitoring of patients, or it could be managing critical systems in a mining plant, etc. But have a look at their website. It's called Lorgan, Lorgan, Lorgan Global. And the third speaker we had that night, actually here tonight. Put your hand up, Shane. Good to have you here. Shane is a serial entrepreneur. He entered in the first half, because we're running the awards every 6 months, so he entered the awards, edition 1 we call it, in 2024. And he won an award, one of our MedTech awards, for his innovation, which is an app for mental wellness. So it's a village that allows you to bring together all the people that you need to support you and call upon as required during the day or even during the night. Okay, so it brings in your friends, your family, the doctors and whatever into an app. So have a look at that. All of these are on our website. And then at end of last year, he entered again with a totally different application. And this is a cyber solution. What it does, Secure My Digital, is actually create your passwords dynamically, virtually. Your passwords are not held in a vault. The problem with, obviously, when hackers get into different systems, they get into the vault, and of course that exposes all the passwords. With this new technology, you don't need that. It gets rid of having the need to actually have them stored in the vault. Last year, he was quite disappointed, I think. He was highly commended. He didn't win an award in the second half of last year, but the judges gave him feedback. That's what we do. He took it on the chin, he came back, and he won an award back in June. So, double winner. Well done, Shane. Fantastic. So I think I've told you a fair bit about consensus. Come and see me afterwards if you have an interest to enter, or you know of other people that may wish to enter the awards. We're open at the moment for the second half of this year up to the end of October. So we've only got about 5 or 6 weeks to go on that. But there's still time to get an application in. But then, of course, we'll be open again for the new year. I've got a few minutes to talk about another innovation that I'm involved in, totally different. A very good friend of mine, Christopher Williams, and put your hand up, Chris, the man with the hat, okay, see him later on, Christopher Williams. He's actually written 5 books, and they're designed for children with special needs, children with autism. There's 5 in the set, absolutely beautifully produced and beautifully illustrated. The children love them, the parents love them, the teachers love them. Absolutely a great opportunity to take this around the world. So far, We've already deployed them across originally the Central Coast. About 800 children received their 5 books, the set. In June and July this year, we've now distributed another 2,000 sets across the Blue Mountains, the Hawkesbury, and also then going into the Lake Macquarie area and up to Newcastle and into the Hunter. So these books are getting very good recognition. What we're doing is actually allowing people now to actually purchase these online. So we've actually created ebooks. Obviously the children themselves that need them will actually have a physical copy. And we'd like every single child, there's about 160,000 children just in New South Wales with special needs. Across Australia, it's about 650,000. All right, so we've only done 3,000 so far. So we need help. And also, we'd like people just to donate. And we're just asking for $5. That's not a big ask. So you can go to our website and just say, yes, I'm happy to donate $5. And it's Carey and Careful, which is both with K's, K-A-R-E-Y, and Careful with a K as well. And you can donate. And the most important thing is we are registered as a full charity. So that's it. And the last thing I'd like to say, and it's just a thank you, is to say thank you to a gentleman standing up there on the right, is Anthony Travers. Put your hand up, Anthony. Anthony's a big supporter of the Consensus Awards. He's with the chartered accounting firm Hall Chadwick, and they hosted our event last week. And there's a few of us here tonight. So thank you very much for your attention. Greatly appreciated.
Thank you again. Round of applause for Julian Day. Thank you very much, Julian. Now, just to try and keep the momentum going, and I know that everybody's getting a little bit tired, but I'd like to use this opportunity also to have a little bit of networking there. So we're going to try and speed things up a little bit. We're going to, rest assured, we've just got our sponsors who are going to come up, our 2 sponsors. These 2 are going to come up and actually have a few words, and then we're going to move to a panellist, and we're going to try and move this quickly so we can actually get to a bit of networking at the end. So I'd like to introduce, because without these gentlemen and these businesses, this event wouldn't have happened tonight. I'd like to introduce our sponsors, Lime and Alspec, to come up to the stage, please. Will Peters and Mark Narkley, please. I'll just have Will Peters say a few words, and then Mark will say a few words afterwards. Thank you. Let him speak.
Thank you, Emmanuel. I think when you and Leon first pitched this to me, it was the most perfect event for Lime. So I'll go into a bit of history. We've got a video to play, but good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to be here on behalf of us. I also want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land we gather on and pay my respects to both elders past and present. For those who I haven't met yet, I'm William Peters and I lead Lime across the Asia Pacific region. I also want to acknowledge the Mayor of Waverley, Councillor Will Nemish, who really led New South Wales' first e-bike agreement, got us to the table and prioritised parking, which I think will actually lead to one of the best outcomes we've seen in micromobility across the state. I would also like to acknowledge all the councillors, officers and from neighbouring councils, industry partners and community leaders. I really want to say it's inspiring to see so many leaders and change makers together. Celebrating connections is more about conversations, it's about collaborations that create lasting change. That's something we live at Lime every single day. Around the world, from New York to Paris, Tokyo to Auckland, people now take countless of millions of trips on Lime every single year. And just this year alone, for the first time ever, more than 1 million rides were taken in a single day. I just got off a team talking in London only last week when the tube went down and the strikes happened, and our usage tripled, and that was incredible to watch. And it's also the impact this can have on how people connect with their cities. I'm also pleased to showcase the brand new Lime bike tonight that you can see here. Please have a look at it. It's something brand new coming to Sydney very soon. We fixed a lot of the problems that I've heard many of you say, from councillors to community members, whether it's the helmet lock, they're tipped over too much parking infrastructure. So please look at that. We're really proud of what it represents. It's about 7 years of technology development, and we're looking forward to bringing that with you. Here in Sydney and across New South Wales, we're proud to partner with councils and communities to make sustainable transport part of everyday life. Because when people move around and it's easy, they become cleaner, they become more accessible, everything gets stronger, and local businesses and community life and the connections we bring to people build. And that's what we need to really focus on. And I have to call out the Chamber of Commerce, the Bondi Chamber of Commerce here, for really elevating this and bringing brands in. And we're really proud to support this initiative, Manuel, anytime. And Leon, your passion for bringing us to the table and also making sure people feel inspired is infectious. So thank you very much on behalf of Lime. It's our pleasure to support.
Thank you, Mark, for coming along tonight. Thank you.
Emmanuel, thank you for having me, and thank you for having us at Aspect Solar here today. I don't have a script, but I wanted to express this from the heart. At Aspect, we are Australia's largest distributor of windows and door systems across the country. We've been servicing Australia for 50 plus years. I'm part of the newest division, which is Aspect Solar, the youngest branch in the subsidiary in the company. And we have a product called the Alley Shade Solar Port, which is a solar carport solution that addresses concerns regarding wasted space in residential homes. Instead of putting a carport with a colour bond or iron roof, we've gone with solar panels as a solution as that roof. I wanted to address Mayor Will's point on innovation and the fact that it should be purpose-driven and sustainable. I'll first start with purpose-driven. The Alley Shade Solar Port is extremely purpose-driven. The whole point of the product is to address concerns in wasted space in houses and to show that we can make a solution that can essentially work as an energy generating asset for homes without putting it on your roof and what would be wasted space anyway. For the sustainable part, the entire product is made out of aluminium and stainless steel. Both of these materials are completely recyclable from end to end. The solar panels, we have also been developing recyclable options as well. Now, at Auspec, unfortunately, we don't have the slide on it. However, we are currently working on an Auspec Industrial Business Park out in Cumberland Council, which is a 74-hectare property with entirely net zero and green solutions for industrial. It's the largest industrial project in Sydney, or New South Wales, I should say, and it's been going extremely well, and we will have a headquarters station there. The entire area will be green and sustainably managed. The architect we're working with is Nettleton Tribe, and they are completely dedicated to this solution. But thank you, Emmanuel, one more time, and thank you, Waverley Council, and thank you, everyone, for listening to what I have to say. I hope to work with you all in the future.
Another round of applause for Mark from Auspec Solar. Thank you again. And if I can have one more sponsor to our table, to the stage, please. I want Faisal from the Nepean Advanced Rehab and Allied Centre to come up and say a few little words. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Faisal Sheikh from Nepean Advanced Rehab and Allied Health Centre, and I can't thank enough, and it's such an honour and pleasure to be a part of this evening representing Nepean Advanced Rehab and Allied Health Centre. Our Managing Director, Mr. Niaz Kenneth, was very much hoping to be a part of this evening, but due to a family emergency, he had to travel overseas. And that's why we are representing him today. He sends his full support and warm regards to each one of you, all of you that you've gathered here. At Nepean Advanced Rehab and Allied Health Center, our philosophy is very simple: empowering movement, restoring life. That's it. In practice, it means that we want to break it down so that people can go through those barriers, they can show up, they can contribute, and perform at their best in their workplaces, with their families, and in their communities. That's why an event like Celebrating Connections resonates so strongly with us. Businesses don't just provide services and they don't just provide opportunities. They create jobs, they provide innovation, and with the right kind of support, organizations like us can thrive in this beautiful business environment. Tonight is just a reminder of what's possible when people come together with a shared purpose. That's exactly why we call ourselves at Nepean Advanced Rehab a family, and we are not a business. So we are as good as the team that we are. I have my team members here with me. So there was a shared purpose and a goal that we wanted, that no individual should be left behind and they should not fall through the cracks. And they should be given the right kind of services, the right kind of support at the right time, which was crucial, which was defined by our very own social worker and client engagement manager, Tripti, who I have with me over here. She's part of us, and we can network after that. And to take it at the next level, we devised a business plan and we got the right people on board to take the mission and vision ahead. We have the Allied Health Network Manager with ourselves, that's Pat in our team. And nothing could have been defined or put in the right perspective if we did not have the vision from our Managing Director, Niaz Kaneth. And most importantly, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Leon Goldsman, our COO. We don't thank him enough. Me and Leon are on the call almost every day. I keep harassing him for those midnight phone calls, but thank you. But thank you so much, Leon. Leon is our Chief Operating Officer for Nepean Advanced Rehab and Allied Health Center. His energy, his commitment, and connecting businesses, which he does best, and communities is part of what makes celebrating connections and gathering like these possible. And yeah, I'm actually out of words. This is really overwhelming for all of us. We as a budding organization, as a budding business, this is what we strive for. And hopefully you'll see more of us, and there's going to be more work, more body of organizations through us. And thank you. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity.
Thank you again to all our key sponsors. Without you, tonight wouldn't have been able to be happening. So thank you again, once again. We now move on very quickly into the most exciting parts of the evening, our panel discussion. What makes this panel truly special is that all three of our panellists have already shared their journeys on the Engaging Conversations podcast. Each of these businesses brings a powerful story and of leadership, resilience, and innovation. Stories that have inspired audiences across Australia and overseas and will now inspire us here tonight. To guide this conversation, we are very fortunate to have Marina Macklin, Principal of LJ Hooker, Bondi Junction, and my Vice President of the Bondi District Chamber of Commerce. If I can have to the stage, please, Marina Macklin. Thank you.
Thank you. We need a little fun now. We just love you in general, just not your shoes. Guys, I'm going to introduce our amazing three panelists. It's just such a short intro. The three panelists are incredible in their own right. There is a write-up about them in our booklet. We'll get to talk to them much more once we're on the panel. This is just a short. So once I introduce you, if you could please come up to the stage. Anita Colney, founder and director of Ocean Lovers, for whom passion and purpose are inseparable. With a professional background in business events, communication and creative direction, she recognised a gap, serious issues with climate change and ocean health were often framed in ways that felt inaccessible and overwhelming. Her vision was to change that, creating a platform where people could connect with challenges in hopeful, engaging and inspiring ways. By weaving together science, art, culture, Anita has built not just an event, but a platform that invites people to act with both urgency and hope. Welcome, Anita. Brad Woolett, CEO of Definity, Brad believes time is our most valuable resource, and his mission is to help businesses reclaim it. As CEO of Definity, he leads a company that is revolutionizing workplaces through intelligence automation and artificial intelligence, freeing people from repetitive tasks so that they can focus on what truly matters. His story reminds us that innovation isn't about replacing people, it's about enabling them to thrive. Welcome, Brad. And last but not least, Astrid Hocking, Chairperson of Hearts and Hands Community Development. Astrid has spent her life proving that compassion is the most potent force of change. She leads programs that uplift disadvantaged families, protect vulnerable children, and empower people with mobility challenges through initiatives such as Butterfly Hearts. Her story reminds us that individuals act with love and persistence, they can reshape their entire communities and future. One of her most visible initiatives, the Umbrella Hearts campaign, as you can see on most of the ribbons you guys are wearing and received when you were entered, uses a simple bright orange ribbon as a global symbol of child protection, which you all received. Launched in 2015, it has spread across communities in Australia and the Philippines, sparking conversations and building awareness around a message that it is not okay to hurt children. We will talk more and we'll get into the questions, so have a bit of a stretch. We'll get a few questions later, but let's relax. Oh, here we go. We have mics. I was worried we didn't. Now bear with me. I'm no professional at this. Does this work? Okay, yes. So, the first question I'm going to, and welcome everyone. So keep this casual. If you guys have questions for each other, please do. I'll go one by one and then just pass it around. So the question to all of you, and what I really want to know is, what's your why to get where you were, and how did you find your why?
Are you happy for me to start? Okay. I'm a mum of 4, and I grew up in this beautiful country and appreciating everything that makes Australia such a special place to grow up. And as things were going along, I realised that there is so much devastation and stress and anxiety in children about what's going on in the environment. And I thought, how can I do something to make a difference with that? So I decided to create a festival, because people are much more inclined to learn something when they're having fun rather than feeling like they're being educated in their time off. And that's kind of how the festival came to be. Yeah.
Okay, well, I sort of fell into the business. We did a management buyout within a larger organisation, and then we had to find our why. And through a lot of intense navel gazing, we came up with, because all the owners of the business have got kids, and we're worried about the prosperity of Australia going forward, and we know that prosperity is directly linked to productivity. So if we could impact productivity, then we're going to impact prosperity, and we're going to maintain Australia's standard of living.
Thank you. My why is absolutely about children. And both of you have already mentioned, Anita and Brad have already mentioned children and the future as well, because children are the world's most valuable resource. We need to be protecting them every day. So I've always been passionate about child protection and looking after them, doing whatever we can. And the ribbon that you've all been given tonight that I hope you will wear, and also there are extras if you'd like to take some with you to share. The ribbon has an umbrella as a symbol of protection. It's orange as a bright, happy, cheery colour that children deserve to be. In Australia, we currently have 45,000 children who are known to have been abused just this year. That is horrendous in this country. So we need to be doing that every day, and I think it's all our responsibility. So that's my passion and my why.
I love it, and I love that it all comes to family and children, and that we're all building a generation. My kids are standing watching just here now, so our kid representatives in the room. So I really think that they are the future, and I think that's beautiful that your why and your basis has all come from that. So make sure you get your ribbon, make sure you share your ribbon with someone and tell the story of protecting children. We're going to hand it over to Brad, because he's going to make us laugh, because I hear a little story. No pressure, but give us a giggle to start. He said he's going to give me a good story about presenting.
Yeah, it's an embarrassing story. So picking up on Leon talking about being courageous, so I've been presenting for well over 25 years. solutions and at conferences and what have you. But I'm just like everyone. 99% of people fear public speaking, and I'm one of them. And so 20 years ago, I was presenting to a room probably twice as big as this. And it was a document management system that I was presenting, and it was dry. It was terrible. And the nerves kicked in. I noticed there was a couple of head bobbles in the rows, people falling asleep. And my brain fogged over. And instead of saying document repository, I said document suppository. And I think the presentation ended soon after that, but the silver lining was that I got known as the document suppository guy, and it was memorable. So that was...
Whatever it takes, as long as you're memorable.
That's right.
Guys, we're going to have a really informal chat. I'll start some questions, but I think it's so great if you guys can collaborate, and if you have some questions to each other once I start to prompt, I'd love that. So, Anita, you know, it says in the booklet 15,000 connections, but what I've heard from a little birdie called Leon is that it's more 250,000, and I think we're talking about connections. And what are your tips for the audience on how to get these collaborations and get these connections with locals, businesses, and just our community? How do you grow a charity, a community like that?
I think it's all about, it's very mission driven what we're doing, that we felt that there was a real gap of an opportunity to connect people in a positive way and make them feel inspired and empowered that we all have the ability to make a difference. Because most of what you see in the news when it comes to climate and environment is also negative, and there's so much misinformation in the world today that people don't know what they can trust anymore and where they can find trusted information. So our point was all about creating a fun environment where people can come and they can feel really inspired and feel that they can trust what the information that they're getting, because there are so many curious and concerned people that don't really know where to turn anymore. So in our first festival, and Bondi Beach was a real blessing for that, because we launched our first festival in Bondi in 2019, and it has just the perfect community feel, but it has a huge international appeal. So we felt very blessed to launch the festival in Bondi. And we had 15,000 people over 4 days in our first festival.
Amazing.
And thank you. Then a day before our second festival, we got cancelled because of COVID, and we had 4 cancellations in a row, which was really difficult for a new event and no support, but we pushed through that stage and continued to build. And then now we've had 5 festivals. In March this year, we expanded across Sydney, and we had 127,000 people in Sydney, across Sydney this year that participated in the festival, 227,000 across the 5 years now, and over 47 million in media reach. And I think it's just about everybody. You should never be scared of going and knocking on a door or talking to someone or finding a new connection.
Yes.
The more people talk, the more we collaborate, the more we work with people, the more changes we can make. When I started the festival, I was a stay-at-home mum with 4 kids. I wasn't working, and I was thinking, who am I to go out there and do something like this? And I met my business partner, Kaz, who was part of starting the Vivid Festival in Sydney. And she believed in me, and she said, let's go and present it to Waverley Council. And they thought, wow, this is perfectly aligned with our sustainability values and what we do. And they got behind us. So I said to my ex-husband at the time, I said, you know what? I've just been invited to Monaco, to this Monaco Ocean Week thing. I think I've got to put it on my credit card and just go, because it's a big opportunity. And I went there, and I ended up presenting to the Prince Albert Foundation and a few other people, and they all came behind us in the early days. And going there, I was thinking, wow, who am I to go and talk to these people? Because what have I done? I'm at home and I'm a mum and whatever. But I just thought, well, right now in my stage, this is what I have to offer, and I believe in what I have to offer. And Prince Albert might have been an Olympic skier at some stage, but right now, that's not what he's doing. So you just have to believe in yourself and keep going and knocking on doors and knowing that you've got nothing to lose at the end of the day. We've only got something to gain.
And I think that's a great thing, that nothing to lose and something to gain, and not to be afraid. It's a reminder to everyone in the room, because I think we get so scared of embarrassment, or that someone's going to say no. And it's a good reminder that what's the worst that can happen if you just go and knock on that door. Someone might say no, but big deal. You go and knock on another one. Someone might say yes. So that genuine, just go ahead and go get it. It's amazing what you've created from that. So congratulations. Brad, you work in a scary world of AI. I am fascinated, but also quite scared of it. And I think, there's also questions about what is the importance of AI, but does it also affect businesses to lose the connection? And are we losing the connection with team? Are we losing the connection with people and other businesses that we used to have? How is it going to help, and how are you afraid it's going to hinder?
Yeah, so our tagline is that we create time. So everything that we're doing is creating time, taking the mundane and the repetitive work away from the employee and giving it to a software robot or a digital co-worker. And that frees up time for doing higher value stuff like collaborating, like communicating, like having those hard discussions either with your staff or with clients or business partners. So, and then we've seen it move from a boardroom discussion around fear, uncertainty, and doubt, what we call FUD, and now it's moved to FOMO, fear of missing out. So, and what goes with that is that there are guardrails and things you can put in place, so you're protecting your data, you've got your security there, and you've got your right policies. But that can cost you a heck of a lot of money. So we offer, and we talk about a pragmatic way of approaching that. So we put the guardrails in, we protect and we secure, and we allow people to get time back.
And time is our most valuable resource. So if we can gain a bit more time, and if it does get us more time with our families and more times with our businesses and more time with our team, all power to it. We just need to be less scared of it, I think, some of us. So Astrid, it's an amazing thing what you have done and what you have done to strengthen the communication for child safety and the grassroots support networks. What's been the most powerful lesson you've learned about creating meaningful change, and how can all of us apply it into our community?
For me, I think just the conversation. It seems very, very simple. I think in Australia we try to complicate things too much. That simple ribbon, when you wear that, it creates that conversation. It's the communication, it's the connection. It's all of the things we've been talking about tonight. If you wear that ribbon, someone will say to you, what's that about? You have the opportunity to talk to them, to say, it's about child protection. It's about the importance of protecting our children. Having that conversation can change the behaviour of other people, and you don't know where that's going to go. A couple of years ago, I had one young man come and talk to me about the ribbon. He asked all about it, and I explained what it was about and said, so what's happening for you? And he chatted a little bit about his household and said he wasn't happy the way things were going. We chatted for just a little while. He went away and I never thought about it again. But 6 months later, he came back to the same location where we'd been promoting the importance, and he came back and said, you know what, I just wanted to let you know you really did challenge my thinking just with that simple ribbon. He said, because I went home and decided I wasn't going to hit my children anymore, and I have a much happier household because of it. So I think just that keeping it very, very simple. I also go to the Philippines and partner with an orphanage that rescue children from trafficking. And we've talked to communities over there, in disadvantaged communities where abuse was quite rife, who now say they have zero tolerance to abuse because we talked to them. We've talked to them, kept it simple about that ribbon and the explanation of what it's about. It's just changed lives. It's making a difference.
And that's great how a simple thing just can, and to simplify. So congratulations on that. That's huge. And it's a great lesson for all of us, with it, whether in community, whether in business. Simplify the conversation. I think we do get complicated, trying to make everything perfect. We get lost in all the detail. Just get out there and do it, knock on the doors, just create time. I think the constant message is we overcomplicate things. Just get out there and do something about it. So amazing for all of you. Thank you.
Maureen, I was just going to say, you can't change what you're not aware of either. And the thing is, I wouldn't have known that, I know that child protection is a major thing, but I wouldn't have known there were that many children per year that are getting abused in Australia. And, you know, people don't realise that 2 out of every 3 breaths we take from the ocean, and no ocean, no us, basically. But if we can't help find better ways to communicate these things with people, we can't change the situation. So it's communication and collaboration are key to changing the status quo.
And that goes into my next question for you. Have you seen community collaboration transform environmental into real lasting impact? And what can the leaders in this field learn from that?
Absolutely. When we had one of our first festivals, we also do a Blue Solutions Summit, which is a business event as part of the festival. And we had the chief scientist of Australia say that the only way we're going to get ourselves out of this mess is by collaborating with cross-sector collaboration. And from our first festival, the Gamay Indigenous Rangers came to our first festival. They'd literally just received funding, and they came and they met with the University of New South Wales and the Sydney Institute of Marine Science. And now, years down the track, they're collaborating, they're training all their rangers at the University of New South Wales. The Sydney Institute of Marine Science are collaborating with them, doing these ancient wisdom, modern science projects, and working together to make big differences. So, yeah, thanks.
Fantastic. That is so fantastic. Through Definity, Brad, you've proven that technology and automation aren't just about efficiency. They're about giving people back time, which we've discussed, and creating space for what matters most. In your journey, how have you balanced innovation with the human side of leadership, and what advice would you give to others about building trust through that change?
That's a very good question.
Thank you very much. I can't even take credit for that one. That was Leon. Blame Leon. No, that wasn't ChatGPT. Let's pretend. Leon, was that ChatGPT or is that just a Leon GPT? That's a Leon question. Sorry. You stumped him.
Yeah, can I have that again?
In your journey, how have you balanced innovation with the human side of leadership, and what advice would you give others about building trust through change?
Oh, thanks, Leon. Involvement of the staff through the journey. So we have all our employees involved in the creation of our strategic plan and the execution of our strategic plan. And our staff report back every quarter about what they've done on the previous quarter, what they're going to do in the next quarter, and they own it. So it's at that grass level roots of having everyone in the team aligned like a peloton, pushing in the right direction. So.
No, I love that, and it's so important. I think we get caught up in higher management and making all the changes that we do forget people in lower management, people in our grassroots team are seeing every day of what we're doing in the business. And if we do listen to everyone in the team and go back and reassess and not just kind of sit as managers of business owners and just make our own decisions, it's so important to get the whole team involved, get the new guy. Sometimes the best is the new guy who comes in and goes, oh, you're doing this wrong. We need to listen, and we need to listen to everyone coming in.
Yeah, we promote ourselves as a people-first organisation. So we talk about playing the ball, not the player. We have weekly, daily stand-ups where I've got a couple of roles in the organisation, and you respect the role or you respect the hat that you're wearing. So I may be subordinate to someone in a role that I'm using. So
that's fantastic.
That's the way that we play.
No, I love that. Sorry for stumping you, but blame Leon. Astrid, and the last question, and then if we have time, I'll pull it out to the audience if anyone's got questions. What has been the most powerful lesson you've learned about creating meaningful change, and how can we all apply it into our own communities? Oh.
Yeah, I think you've probably stopped
Sorry,
me too.
I've said that. No, I've gone to my another one. It actually was about the ribbons and what impact have you seen them making, but we have touched on that, and I just think, how can everyone apply those ribbons into their businesses? Where can people get behind your community and your charity?
Okay. Well, I'd like to actually just mention the fact that these ribbons originated very, very simply. We've talked before about innovation. Many of the speakers have spoken tonight about the importance of innovation coming from simple things. And I've said now that's a simple idea. It came from me wanting a piece of orange ribbon on a suitcase. when I got to the Philippines to actually visit the orphanage, I went to a little shop, bought a small roll of ribbon, tied some on my suitcase, and then thought, what do I do with the rest? I was actually running some trauma training for the carers who were looking after those abused children. And I said to them, look, wear a piece of this ribbon, just pin it on, wear it around the community for the next week, and then tell me what response you got. And they came back and talked to me about the conversations they'd had with many people. When I came back to Australia, my husband then picked it up. So I guess he's probably the whole reason behind this program. He stays in Australia when I'm travelling over there, but he actually then got the ribbon, said, go get some more of that ribbon. So I did, and we now have it for ourselves. I bought more ribbon. The next time I came back to Australia, he handed me a small box, and in that box he said, that's your gift. When I opened it up, he said, there's 1,500 ribbons there, done with the packages, almost exactly that you can see here. And he said, now it's your responsibility to take them out and share them as much as you can with everybody. I always have them in my handbag. When somebody asks the question, what's that about? I want to talk to you about child protection. Yes, that's the meaning behind the ribbon. And guess what? I think it'd be great if you had one too. And I'd take one out and give it to them and say, you share that too. And
So if everyone can share one, I think if everyone can take one and share one and share the story and share the simple thing about child protection and getting out there and getting behind it, how do people support your...
Yeah, we currently have that. We started in Lake Macquarie because that's where I'm from. So it started in Lake Macquarie. We have a lot of support there. Our local council, for instance, we've also gone to National Child Protection Awareness Day. So you'll hear more and more about that. For the last 3 years, we've had that. It was declared in federal parliament. We've got local, state and federal governments all supporting the program. We just need some funding because what I'm involved in is a small registered charity, has all the charity status and things, but we have no funding. So we do the best we can from our own pockets at the moment, but we do sell the ribbons online. We have a website, heartsandhands.com.au. You can buy the ribbons. We have the little shop on there, or you can send me an email. If you have a look at the card that you have that goes with the ribbon, there's the QR code, goes straight to the website. There's also an email address that comes straight to me, so I can send them to you. I've sent ribbons across the country. I've had airline pilots and captains of ships wearing the ribbons when they've asked me about it, and we've sent them across to different countries too because I ran a conference for international visitors and we sent them home with packages of ribbons. So the best we can do is share that as much as we possibly can. My goal is that everybody would recognise that ribbon and then do something about it. Know it's about child protection and then say, I'm willing to step up to protect children.
Congratulations. Sorry.
No, I was actually going to say that's you're growing a movement with the ribbons.
Beautiful.
And that's the same. We're trying to grow a movement for the oceans because that's the...
Can
by
you give
growing a
everyone
movement
just how to get access to information about your movement also?
You can have a look at oceanloversfestival.com. We've got our social media as well. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to speak to me after or contact us via the website.
And Brad, Definity, I'm assuming, is website, or give us your how to find you or find more information about
Yeah,
you.
LinkedIn or definity.com.au. So that's it.
Absolutely. And do we have time for questions or not? Is everyone over it and wants to win some prizes and eat some food? We're done. Okay, guys, I'm not getting a question from my son because that will be, no. What's for dinner? He's already fed. He's been fed, guys. Don't worry. I'm not hurting him. Guys, thank you so much. Please, can we thank our panellists? These are incredible people, all three of them. We really, really appreciate your time. And we really appreciate the audience because this has been a long night and a lot of speeches, but it's now we are going to announce some prizes. We are going to announce more time to collaborate, and there's food and drinks and time to enjoy. Em, can I hand it over to you?
Okay, thank you very much. And now the round of applause for our panellists, and thank you so much, Marina, for being here. Yes, please, absolutely. Absolutely. So now we've just got a couple of prizes we're going to give out, and then we'll just close it up and actually give everybody the opportunity to have a little bit of networking, have some more food, have some more drinks, and enjoy each other's company to keep those stories going. So let me get this very quickly. So we've got a couple of prizes.
Can I get shoes?
Actually, can we get Wally? Wally, come up here. Come on. We've got it. Here's
We
our.
also need to give the alcohol to the partner.
Oh, yes. And can we ask the mayor and John? Now, it's okay. We checked. It's under $30, so you don't have to declare it. I promise. I made sure. Yeah. So please come on up.
Thank you.
This is for you.
Thank you.
No problem.
The mayor?
Oh, thank you. Oh, yes. Okay. That's not mine. Relax.
Everyone's got it. Thank you, buddy. Thank you so much. You don't have to declare it.
Yes. So, guys, I'm going to talk about the prizes very, very quickly. This is pretty cool, okay? I'm going to try and go quick and not put you to sleep. So, we've got some amazing people who can't be here, but I've got a message from Harry's. He actually, Harry from Bondi Rescue, he's got a book launch and he couldn't make it, but he actually sends all his love and he's donated a signed copy of the book, which was meant to come with Kelly Sloan. She got held up. She sent her apologies, but it's still, we're going to draw it. And you're going to get it, probably delivered by Harry's himself. He doesn't know it yet, but we'll get him to do that. And then there's all these other wonderful prizes. So I'm going to go one by one. Barbie Crew down at Bondi, $100 voucher. Who's the lucky person? Hopefully they'll take me. Maybe. That's also you. No, I'm kidding. Shani Anson. Do we have a Shani Anson? All right, give her a round of applause. I'm going real quick here. We'll get. Make sure you don't forget, because okay, Shani. Okay, someone remember that. Okay, the mayor. The prize. The next prize is Q at Bondi coffee experience. Pretty cool one. If no one wants it, I love my coffee. Okay. Drum roll. Carolyn Grant. Oh. Okay. Good. We've got Dr. Ants. Well, so we've got a chiropractor. It's on the board. Where is he? There he is. Look, if you want to dance again, then he's not a dance instructor, but he'll do some magic stuff to your body and you'll be able to dance. So. There you are. There he is. Done. Let's go surfing. Who here knows how to surf? But even if you don't, now's your chance. And if you do know how to surf, you'll improve. Okay, so drum roll.
Alexandra Davis?
Yes.
Let's go surfing. Where are we?
Fantastic. I'm glad you won it. You can tell me all about it. Okay. Oh, sorry. Just kidding. Feel free dance. I want to eat 5-pack dance classes. 5-pack dance.
Everyone's dancing.
We're all dancing. Now let's find the tables to dance on. Okay, quick. Who's the lucky person? Draw. Scott Weddle. Yeah, there he is.
Oh, the police wear shoes. Dance away.
Dance away. Harry's. Our famous live guide from Bondi, signed book. And drum roll.
David.
You've got it, mate. All right, done. Beautiful. Okay, and we've got a 2.5-hour corporate bucket list workshop with certified coach and workplace. Where is she? Stand up and get up. She was on our podcast and I got buzzing after I spoke with her. So you're going to get a session with her. It's valued at about $5,000 plus, and she's really good, and you'll see why. So this is a big drum roll. Come on, can everyone just clap your feet, stamp your feet. Stuart Loudon. Oh, mate, you're a lucky guy. Actually, we may even, you know what we could do? We'll take this offline. I think you're in for something big, and we, unless you want to donate it to Survivors Are Us, we're in for something bigger. We'll take you on. Let's do it. Okay, beautiful. Thank you very much, guys. Round of applause to everyone. I think so. Any more?
That's it. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. We're going to take this opportunity to thank everybody again for coming here tonight. Keep the stories going, keep the conversations going. Once again, thank you to all our sponsors, our key panelists, and everybody that's here tonight. Once again, thank you. Thank you for all coming. Please take this opportunity to network. and enjoy another drink. Once again, thank you.